I'm Samantha Anderson. I'm here to discuss the counseling skills lesson here. So first of all, the sessions that I watched were similar to what I imagined they would be. There were different types of counselors using different types of skills and different types of clients. Secondly, from reading chapter 8, what skills and counselor characteristics did I notice? So in the first one, the brainstorming, I noticed that the counselor was a bit more professional. He was certainly empathetic. He did express unconditional positive regard. He had a lot of reflection of feeling when he said things like, oh, so you're worried, or, but it sounds also like you feel a little bit guilty. There was a lot of encouragers. He would say, right, he would nod, he'd say, mm-hmm, when he was active listening. And then at the end, he summarized. He said, so you threw out several things you might do, you said, so I thought that was very good. Next we have the homesick. This counselor was warmer. She definitely maintained more eye contact. She was empathetic, she was gentle, she used lots of encouragers, a lot of She asked a lot of open-ended questions, a lot. I mean, it was basically the whole thing. There were some reflections of feeling where she said, you feel really lonely and disconnected. She paraphrased where she said, so it stands like you've been trying to find ways to build relationships. She used silence for reflection. And I noticed there was an interesting combination of paraphrasing and reflection of meaning. So she said, so there's some relationship there. She said, so you're feeling conflicted. It was a little bit of a combination of the two, I thought. And lastly, let me see this one here, dancing or helping. He was very warm and soft-spoken and gentle. He used lots of encouragers. He said, okay, lots and lots of open-ended questions, lots of reflection of feeling. You could tell that he was genuine. He was genuinely trying to understand and practice empathy, and he did a lot of paraphrasing. So the next question was, what did I feel about, what were the differences? So I think counselor 1 was not as warm, but he was professional. He was empathetic, and his professionalism was genuine. The second counselor was very warm, lots of open-ended questions. I was surprised what little she had to say to get so much out of the other person, but it didn't feel as genuine as the first and the third, and I thought that maybe she was putting a little bit too much of her personal observations onto the client, and it almost felt in the end like she was scaring her a little bit more. The third, the male-female dynamic there was a little strange to me, especially on the topic of bodily movement and dancing, but I think that he really did a good job asking open-ended questions. It seems like what she was talking about was so different from his personal experience, and what was very interesting is that he was asking questions to empathize, and she was saying that her problem is that she can't verbalize because normally she verbalizes with her body movement, but his asking questions to gain empathy was causing her to verbalize, and it was this, no pun intended, it was this really nice dance that was working well for both of them. I enjoyed watching that for that reason. And lastly, let's see here. What questions do I have about the counseling session? So for me, I would say I'm curious as to what tricks there are for how to get comfortable with that silence. I'm a silence filler. And also how to sit still. Like, I'm normally a fast-moving person. I think one of my concerns is sitting still for 50 minutes. Can I write down, what do people who are a little bit more fidgety do? And then my last question is about eye contact. So I've noticed that too much eye contact can actually be draining for both people. So I'm interested to learn what kind of tricks there are to manage that. And that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great night.